Why does ICI invest so much in foreign acquisitions instead of local, organic growth?
ข้าพเจ้าจะบอกเพื่อนและครอบครัวว่าอย่างไรเมื่อพวกเขาถามข้าพเจ้าว่าผลิตภัณฑ์ของบริษัท ICI มีผลต่อสิ่งแวดล้อมอย่างไร
Pourquoi les femmes cadres supérieures sont-elles si peu nombreuses chez ICI? Et que fait la société pour remédier à cette situation?
जिन देशों में विवादीय राजनीतिक स्थितियां हैं, उनके साथ व्यापार और कार्य करने में ICI की नीति क्या है?
What are the opportunities for ICI employees to gain experience in other ICI companies overseas?
ICI は従業員に対する扱いが良いという評判ですが、それはイギリス人従業員に対してだけですか、それとも海外の従業員に対してもですか?
In a company with over 130,000 people on its payroll across the world, what is ICI doing to recognize and reward good individual performance?
What you have just seen are questions typical of those all of us have wanted to ask, or have asked, at some stage since joining an ICI company. First of all, I have to say that my presence here is not to offer up a set of simple answers to challenging and searching questions, but rather to help you in finding the responses for yourselves. The training program of which this video is a part was commissioned because we saw the need for new employees coming into the group to understand ICI and its business properly as early as possible. In other words, to understand what gives ICI its character and its culture. So why should this be of such crucial importance? Quite simply, because I want you to have a greater appreciation of ICI. I believe that people working in cooperation can get much better results than the same number working in isolation. The 2 and 2 really do, in fact, make 5. Also, I want us all to be fully aware of and committed to ICI values. For instance, I and my colleagues expect all ICI managers to lead by example in matters of health, safety, and the environment. We expect them to care for and respect other ICI employees, whilst at the same time encouraging them to make the best use of their own talents and abilities. But we also want everyone in ICI to understand the values of the group and our overall strategy, as well as the strategy of the business in which they work, and how what they do relates to overall group goals. For example, we expect them to offer a quality service to our customers at all times. Although I know I can't meet with each of you personally, I hope that this program will go at least some of the way in helping you to understand a little more of ICI, so that you yourselves can represent ICI better to your fellow employees, to customers and suppliers, and to those outside the company. The video you're about to see has been designed to be used in conjunction with the materials contained in the Understanding ICI pack. I hope it'll prove interesting viewing.
ICI is one of the world's top 5 chemical companies. Its geographical spread is greater than any of its competitors, and it has an excellent track record in the development of innovative new products. So what influences have helped make ICI what it is today?
One part of the answer can be deduced from ICI's history. Since the group's formation over 60 years ago, ICI has grown by building on its original strengths both in product range and territorial diversity. Yet this growth process has by no means been a smooth one, because ICI has had to respond to and in some cases anticipate social and demographic changes on a worldwide scale. For instance, post-World War II increases in population have meant both more mouths to feed and more bodies to heal. And the increased affluence of many wealthier countries has brought with it an increase in demand for consumer goods, as well as mounting concern for the environment, a factor likely to particularly affect the chemical industry well into the 21st century. So meeting challenges such as these in the past has required ICI to adapt and evolve, building upon its original strengths to become what it is today. 1. Understanding ICI. 1. Understanding ICI. 2. Understanding ICI. 3. Understanding ICI. 4. Understanding ICI. 5. Understanding ICI. 6. Understanding ICI. 7. Understanding ICI. 8. Understanding ICI. 9. Understanding ICI. 10. Understanding ICI. 11. Understanding ICI. 12. Understanding ICI. 13. Understanding ICI. 14. Understanding ICI. 15. Understanding ICI. 16. Understanding ICI. 17. Understanding ICI. 18. Understanding ICI. 19. Understanding ICI. 20. Understanding ICI. 21. Understanding ICI. 22. Understanding ICI. 23. Understanding ICI. 24. Understanding ICI. 25. Understanding ICI. 26. Understanding ICI. 27. Understanding ICI. 28. Understanding ICI. 29. Understanding ICI. 30. Underst So what are the roles and responsibilities of management within ICI? And how does ICI coordinate its businesses on a worldwide scale? In the module called ICI's Business, you'll find more information concerning ICI's history and growth, how the group's present range of businesses has evolved from its original product base, and how ICI's organizational structures interlock to ensure its businesses can operate a global strategy.
ICI is committed to producing quality products manufactured and marketed within local, national and international laws. But what of ICI's own set of values?
For some people, the concept of major chemical manufacturers may conjure up a vision of large organizations dedicated to little more than the generation of ever-increasing profits. One only has to look at the public reaction to events such as the Piper Alpha oil rig disaster or the chemical leak at Bhopal to see how easily such an opinion is formed and how difficult it can be for some organizations to shake off. An important element in avoiding and countering these kinds of ill-informed impressions must be the formation of and adherence to a well-defined value system. As personality is to an individual, so culture is to an organization. And it's probably true to say that the system of values behind ICI's culture form the foundation which the group's reputation continues to be built. So what would be examples of ICI values at work? In the second module, called Values, you can find out more about how ICI values play an important part across all the group's operations and how they need to be understood and fostered by everyone in the group.
ICI's objectives are inherently long-term and need to be underpinned by a sound value system. But is this all that governs ICI's performance in world markets?
Certainly not, because an organization the size of ICI can only progress if it has a purpose and a well-defined sense of direction. In other words, a set of strategic aims. It's likely that over the next 30 years or so, the markets in developing countries will be dominated by the needs for food, better health, clothing, and shelter. Conversely, those of wealthier countries are more likely to be characterized by consumer demands for better quality, more choice, and better service. Once again, concern for the environment is expected to follow its upward trend well into the next century. Other factors affecting all ICI's markets will no doubt include the world economic climate, and thus the cost and availability of raw materials. National and international politics all could have a bearing upon ICI's territorial spread, and the emergence of new technologies, an area which already accounts for over £565 million of the group's current expenditure. So what is ICI's strategic direction, and what are its business goals? In the module called Group Strategy, you'll see how ICI's strategies are divided into 3 main areas. How ICI is able to meet the needs of the community as a whole, whilst at the same time sustaining its record of profitable growth.
For ICI to succeed, the group needs to maintain and improve good relationship with those people who contribute to its businesses, both now and in the future. So who are these people?
Without customers, there would be no ICI, and without a capable and skilled workforce, those customers would not stay with ICI for long. Likewise, if ICI were not able to earn and maintain the trust and respect of the communities within which it operates, then not only would sales suffer, but the resultant loss of integrity would, for example, almost certainly make it much more difficult for ICI to raise external finance for future developments. You might think that the sheer size of ICI's worldwide operations would make any of these eventualities unlikely. But one only has to look at the newspapers to see how even the largest of organizations can lose sight of this all-important objective. And as the saying goes, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And there's another factor worth considering. Because in many countries there was a decline in the birth rate during the late 70s and early 80s, ICI will meet even stiffer competition in the recruitment and retention of quality management and professional staff during the 1990s and beyond. And it's therefore a fair assumption that if staff are not allowed the opportunity to develop to their full potential, efficiency could decline in almost every area of the group's operations. ICI staff need good training and development to maximize their talents, and thus enable ICI to stay ahead of the competition. So how does ICI go about extending these relationships and developing its staff? The fourth module of the Understanding ICI program deals with the relationships which exist between ICI and the different groups of people involved in the businesses. It'll help to identify some of the challenges you'll face in your business or department and how your contribution can benefit the group as a whole.
Customers are obviously one of the key groups with which ICI needs to form good relationships. So what is ICI doing to win and keep its customers? Sir Dennis Henderson, ICI chairman, has this to say on the subject.
And I think for you here on the spot, you must make sure that we know what our customers want. The information that you can get from your customers is vitally important for those who produce the product, for those who research and develop new products. And your relations with your customer are absolutely the key part for us succeeding in this market and understanding exactly what sort of quality is needed.
The days when the chemical industry was largely driven by technical and product innovation are gone. Today's marketplace is ever-changing and requires a radically different approach from that of the past. In today's global marketplace, the companies destined for best success are those who will maintain close contact with their customers in order to meet their needs in a more innovative manner than the competition. So the ICI of the future has not only to be responsive, but must also possess the resources to develop and market products designed to cater for its customers' future requirements. It's most certainly one of the principal areas through which ICI can positively differentiate itself from the competition in terms of both product quality and customer service. So how is ICI integrating the customer into its businesses in an increasingly global marketplace? The final module of the Understanding ICI program is entitled Customers. In it, you can find out more about how ICI regards market focus, not merely as the responsibility of one department within the group, but as a total integrated business approach. In other words, if we cannot sell what we produce, then we might as well not produce it in the first place.
But this video has only highlighted issues. How can I find some answers?
This visual introduction is designed not to provide all the answers, yet rather to introduce the Understanding ICI materials using illustrations of those philosophies underpinning the ways through which ICI pursues its corporate objectives. In producing this video as a part of the Understanding ICI program, our aim is to offer an insight into those factors influencing ICI's immediate and long-term future, a future of which you are a part. But there's another factor to be considered, that of personal commitment and satisfaction. By having a better insight into ICI, you'll be better placed to contribute to ICI's objectives and meet the needs of not only the customer, but also those of the people and institutions who have chosen to invest in ICI.
As you've just heard, this video is an integral part of the Understanding ICI program, which may be undertaken in various ways. I suggest you complete the review sections at the back of the printed modules, which will assist you in understanding the subject matter and help you in answering some of the questions addressed at the start. As I mentioned earlier, this program is not intended as a comprehensive guide because learning about ICI has to be an ongoing process, one backed up by interaction with your own personal contacts, as well as with other parts of the company, the territory, and business in which you work. Nor is this initiative a once-off. It's been designed to invite response, your response. We will therefore be inviting suggestions for improvements and enhancements, and we'll be updating the program in response to your feedback. Finally, some of you may be thinking, what's the point of all this, and how does it really affect me? The answer is simple. In an organization as large as ICI, it's very easy to adopt a rather narrow viewpoint, to look at things in terms of your immediate surroundings and not take account of the broader issues. But it's only by understanding the whole picture that you can best bring your own particular skills and contribution to your job. We want and value your involvement and your contribution. This program is part of our effort to give you this background. In fact, this entire training program is aimed at helping people make ICI world-class, rather than being just concerned with their own local organization. We're trying to develop a company culture to which we can all contribute and all can feel part of. We want all our people to share their ideas with colleagues at all levels, at home and across the world, to coordinate their own efforts with those of other functions in order to smooth the progression of all ICI's products, from conception to final delivery to our customers. We already know that ICI is a profitable and responsible organization, and we know that its product and territorial diversity help to make it strong. But the real key to success will be in working together with shared values. ICI's business addresses the essentials of life: health, food, clothing, shelter, transport, and helps to make them available to as many people as possible. By developing and applying its technological skills, ICI aims to make the world a better place in which to live. Join with me in meeting this challenge.